So our first part is to plot these. I think it's easier if we call them A, B, C, and D. So let's call them points A, B, C, D. So point A, if I'm going to plot it, is 0, 1. So x is 0, y is 1, A. And then B is -3, so -3 in the next direction, -2. And that's B. C is 1 in the x direction, 4 in the y direction, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then D is -2, -1. Okay, do we have any questions on how we graphed and plotted those points? No. Okay, so now we're going to graph the translation. So I'm going to switch my pen color. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply what is said here. So this x plus 2, comma, y minus 1. So I'm going to create a column over here where we are actually going to put that x plus 2, y minus 1. So let's put these little parentheses. So x is 0 plus 2 is 2. And then we have 1 minus 1, which is
0.
Yep. And then I have -3 minus 2, which is, or plus 2 is -3 plus 2. -1. -2 minus 1.
-3.
We have 1 plus 2, which is
3.
And then we have 4 minus 1, which is
3.
And then we have -2 plus 2.
0.
And then -1 minus 1.
-2.
Okay, and then these are now our image. We've talked about this a little bit before. And so we're going to label these A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. So when we go plot these over here, I have 2, 0, A prime. I have -1, -3. So that's going to be B prime. We have C prime, which is 3, 3. And then we have D, which is 0, -2. Okay. Do we have any questions on this portion? So here we have our objective. So remember at the top of your page, you're writing down your objective, which is to identify and use translations. Identify and use translations. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about transformations and specifically translations, but transformations, and this is where you're going to get to use that highlighter. So in your blanks, it's going to be maps, moves. Oh, it's actually the whole thing. It is an operation that maps or moves a figure onto a new figure. So that's your first definition, is a transformation. It's an operation that maps or moves a figure onto a new figure. Okay, so our next slide, if I can figure out how to clear this, okay, tells us that there are multiple ways we can transform a figure, and then this goes in your blanks. So again, you can flip it, you can turn it, you can shrink or enlarge it. So there's 3 blanks, and those are the 3 things that go in that blank. So flip it, turn it, shrink, or enlarge it. But those are things we're going to be talking about in the next group of sections, 5.7, 7.6, and 11.8. That's going to be the rest of this week. So a translation is a transformation in which an image is created by sliding the original figure. So that's your first definition to put in. A translation is a transformation in which the image is created by sliding the original figure. A translation means slide. So that is your second blank. So with this one, with translations, we're literally just sliding it. So the new figure after a transformation is called the image. That is the next blank. So, and then the last part, the 2 blanks with an equal sign, is an image equals the new figure. So on this group, we're deciding whether the red figure is a translation of the blue figure. So is the first one a translation? Are we able just to slide it over? Yes, we can. We just literally slid it here. So the answer to the first question is yes. Oh, we don't want to be in highlighter. Yes. Number 2, is it just a slide? No, so it's not translation. And number 3, is it just a slide? No. Right? It's shrunk. So no, it is not. So we can't say it because we shrunk it. So trying it on your own, one. Okay, so I see that a lot of you already have this answered. So our first one, is it a translation? No, it's not just a direct slide, right? Number 2, is it a translation? No. Nope. But number 3? Yes. Yep, we can see that it is because we could just pick this one up, slide it, and it would directly lay over top. So our next group is we're going to describe the translation of a segment. So this slide, you don't have to write anything on. All it's talking to you about is that here is our original picture, and then this is our image. And we know that it's our image because we have the primes, and then they wrote it in a dash. So this is just to show you how you can identify it. So again, it has the prime, A prime, and B prime, and it's dashed. And that tells us that it's the image. So whenever you see the points A, B, C, etc., the points A prime, B prime, and C prime are the points, the little tick marks, are our new image. We read A prime as A prime. So that is one of your blanks. So the first blank is going to be A prime is the image. So in the first blank, you're going to write the image. The second blank, you're going to write is read as A prime. So A prime. And the third blank means the new point A. So the first one is the image, the second one is A prime, and the third blank is a new A point. So remember that tick mark is not an exponent, it is telling us it's A prime, our image. So when we're talking about this translation, we're talking about the slide. So if we're talking about how this image gets to the, or this original figure goes to our image, we need to pick a point. So if you pick A in this one, you have to go to A prime. If you pick B, you have to go to B prime. So do you guys prefer A or B? A? So we are on example 3. So if we go from A to A prime, so our new image, we're going to draw a line over. I chose red so it was a little more obvious. Connecting them. And then we're going to count. So here we see 1, 2, 3. So to get from here, we go 1, 2, 3. So which direction is that, right or left? From here to here. So we're going to go left 3 units. And then how many up do we go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5 up. So again, make sure you stay consistent. You did A to A prime. But we would have had the same results if we went B to B prime. So here, once again, we are going to describe this using words. So do you guys want to use C or D? C. So C. So we're going from C to C prime. We're going to draw the line connecting them. So to get from C to C prime, how many units are we moving? 4, and in what direction? Down. So we go 4 down. And 3 right. And then 1, 2, 3. 3 right, yep. So things to notice here is something on the last time we did this section, people wrote over, 3 over. Well, over doesn't tell me. It has to be right or left. So 4 down, 3 right. We have another chance to do it again over here with our triangle X, Y, Z. Which point do you want to use as our reference? X, that works for me. So I'm going to draw from X to X prime. So how many units over am I going in which direction? 5. So is this right? So remember, this is our original. So we're going over this direction. Which direction is this? Left. So 5 left. And then how many are we moving here? 2 what? So remember, we're going from our original point and then to our image. Yep, 2 down. So just make sure you're going from the original to the image. So we have left 5, down 2. This group, we are just going to circle our answer. So I put it on here just so you guys can circle what you need. So we can use the words left, right, up, or down to describe a translation. We can also use coordinate notation. We've used coordinate notation before. You guys used it in the bell ringer. So here, if we are moving right, are we changing the X or the Y? So if you're moving right, is this an X change? Or, yep, so we're changing the X. If you're moving left, it's also going to be in the X. If you're moving up, the Y. If you're moving down, Y. So here you should have X, X, Y, Y. And then this slide, we're talking about what we're doing with them. So if you're moving right, you are adding. So you're going to fill in your blank, adding. If you're moving left, you are subtracting. If you're moving up, you're once again adding. And if you're moving down, you are subtracting. Yep. So here, we're talking about this. They've already worked it out. And you see that the original picture and then our image is graphed up. So we moved right 1, up 5. And you see how they wrote it as +1, +5. So on our next slide, it's just to define some of the notation. So you see that X, comma, Y are coordinate notation. So you see this portion. There we go. We have here. So this is the original figure. So X, comma, Y, you have that on your notes. And next to it, you're just going to write original figure. On your notes, you also have an arrow. And that next to it, you're just going to write slide. So this is telling you when you see X, Y, that's your original. This tells you the slide, and this is what your image is going to be, that translation. So our last slide here is describe the translation using coordinate notation. It's our second to last slide. So we are going to use coordinate notation. Let's go back to that slide. So how many units over did we move? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I always start this off by making parentheses. I put an X and a Y in, and then we're moving it. So how many are we moving this way? We're moving 7 to what direction? Right. So if we're moving right, are we adding or subtracting? We're adding. So we just write X plus 7. And then we see we're also going up. How many? We're going up 2. So since we're going up 2, we're adding again. So we go up, so we're adding again. So we take X plus 7, Y plus 2. Our next one is going to be the same idea. This one I think is a little harder to see, so hopefully you can see it on your page with the dashes. So we move over 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 this direction. And how many do we go here? Close. Yep, because that's right to that point. So we're going from this point. So how many is that? 4. So when we begin this, we're going to do that coordinate notation with the X, Y, but I'm going to leave space. And then we are moving left. So if we're moving left, are we adding or subtracting? Subtracting, and so we're moving left 4. And we're going down. Are we adding or subtracting? Exactly right, guys. Our last group is matching. I'd like you to take a second and try to match them. Make my pen work. Okay, so if we are moving, let's just do picture A. So we're going from A to A prime. So how many units up are we moving? Up 2. And how many to the right? 1, 2, 3. So which one is that? So picture A goes with 8. Okay, for B, we go from B to B prime. So how many units down are we moving? 2 down, and how many, right?
4.
So which one is that one?
7.
So 7. And that must mean that 9 is C. So let's verify it. So how many units down are we going? 3. And how many left?
2.
Do you guys have any questions on this?